Gravit8 podcast. Hello, it's Ben and Jacob here doing a podcast, which is better than Dave's other podcast because we made it. It'll tell you a lot about Genesis 15 and what went on in it, and how one of God's first deals with Abram, and what started off the Jesus in a way.
Genesis 15. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward. But Abram said, Sovereign Lord, what can you give me, since I remain childless, and the one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, You have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir. Then the word of the Lord came to him, This man will not be your heir, but a son who is your own flesh and blood will be your heir. He took him outside and said, Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. Then he said to him, So shall your offspring be. Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. He also said to him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to take possession of it. But Abram said, Sovereign Lord, how can I know that I shall gain possession of it? So the Lord said to him, Bring me a heifer, a goat, and a ram, each 3 years old, along with a dove and a young pigeon. Abram brought all these to him, cut them in two, and arranged the halves opposite each other. The birds, however, he did not cut in half. Then birds of prey came down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them away. As the sun was setting, Abram fell into a deep sleep, and a thick and dreadful darkness came over him. Then the Lord said to him, Know for certain that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and that they will be enslaved and ill-treated there. But I will punish the nation they serve as slaves, and afterwards they will come out with great possessions. You, however, will go to your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. In the 4th generation your descendants will come back here, for the sin of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure. When the sun had set and darkness had fallen, a smoking brazier with a blazing torch appeared and passed between the pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram and said, To your descendants I give this land, from the Wadi of Egypt to the great river the Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephaites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites.
Gravit8 podcast. These days, when people do a deal, like buying a car or something, we shake hands to show there's an agreement between two people about the car being bought and the money being paid for it. But back in Abram's day, when two people had made an agreement, they did something different, and it involved killing a cow, a goat, a ram, a dove, and a pigeon. Here's what would happen. They would cut the animals in half and lay the halves in opposite lines. Then they would walk in between to seal the deal, which was Abram's descendants would be as many as the stars and be rulers of a whole nation, Israel. Now we're going to have a funny interview with Abram, the man in the spotlight. So, what actually happened?
Well, basically, God, or as I like to call him, Big Man G, we went to the garden and cut Doris, my cow, Daisy the goat, Mabel the sheep, Shiny the dove, and Perry the pigeon in half, and put the halves opposite each other in lines.
Sounds wicked, but what happened next?
Well, the dead heads started to freak me out, so then I went to sleep, and I woke up and saw a bucket on fire, and one of those new-fashioned torches. They went through the dead headline. I nearly passed out, but the flowers were nice and comforting.
Jesus is one of the two fire things, and the other one is God. And they seal the deal so that Abram doesn't have to.
When Jesus died, he kept the deal by living a life against sin, so that we don't have to, so that we can be with God and have eternal life.
Thanks for listening.
Ta-da!
Gravit8.